live stream. This is the second edition of Lily is supposed to be on vacation right now, but she's not. So the live stream gets to be about whatever she wants to make it about. And last week we talked about how I was essentially having a planner existential crisis, and the live stream went on for 2 hours and then got a ton of lovely people uh commenting that aren't like normally part of the Oh My Dollar community, don't normally come to this live stream, but came because of the planners. So today we're gonna like try to mash up the Oh My Dollar, let's talk about economics and personal finance with the let's show off some planners. Um and hopefully you couldn't hear that, but there is someone drag racing on the street outside. Hello, welcome. Hi Joe. Hi Fuzz Bubbles. I'm glad you were able to catch it live. Yep, totally pivoting into planner influencing, mostly because I'm just really excited about having joined the cult of Hobonichi. And so I don't know, it seems fun, but we actually like put some energy into this. We mostly Aaron put energy into this. I just demanded what I wanted, but we have an overhead setup today, so I'm going to be able to actually show much better some planners, and I have a stack of planners here. But we are actually going to talk about some economic theory, and then, as usual, we are going to try a vegan donut. And, kind of got some Halloween vibes going on here with the, like, purple cape and the orange donut. It is a sour peach flavored donut, which I believe I have had before. Yeah, so Joe says, I haven't watched last week's one yet, but I love the Mosseri plan I bought earlier this year on your rec. I actually think if I really do pivot into becoming a planner influencer, that's kind of sarcastic, but not entirely. But I do actually want to make a video comparing the Hobonichi cousin to the Mosseri planner to show that the fact that I kind of think the Mosseri is like the working person's Hobonichi planner, because they have nailed a lot of similarities with the Hobonichi, which including like variant special edition covers. A lot of the layout is extremely similar, and the kind of ways that you can adapt it are extremely similar. But it is at a much lower price point than getting Hobonichi from abroad is. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to compare and contrast those. But I got my Hobonichi Techo for 2022 this week during my vacation week, which was probably like the worst and the best week to get it, because I spent a not insignificant amount of time like just diving into watching planner videos, laying out stickers to print, the plotting, and it was a little hard because it actually doesn't start till January 2022, and that ended up with me getting a printable that has like the Hobonichi layout and turning it into a little book so that I could use it earlier. And then that turned into someone selling me a 2021 version of the book that I guess will be showing up sometime this week. So, totally relevant to talking about small luxuries and kind of bringing it back to economic theory. I thought it would be interesting to talk about why our cravings for and the consumption of what are essentially affordable luxuries go up so much during times of economic uncertainty, why we end up craving things. In economics, this is called the lipstick effect. It is a theory that when facing an economic crisis, consumers will be more willing to buy affordable luxuries. So sales of things like cars, Ferraris, expensive, as we call them, durable goods in economics go down during recessions. But instead of buying something really expensive like a Ferrari, instead people are more likely to buy something like an expensive lipstick. So a affordable luxury, something that is a thing meant to make you feel treat. You get that small, hit of adrenaline. You are able to feel like you are splurging without having to, take out a loan. So Emily says, I do not have any planner desires, but I 100% bought actual lipstick from Sephora this week, which I haven't bought in years. Ah, you are a statistic, my friend. The the I think what's very interesting about it is that this recession is not like the others, and I think we've talked about that quite a few times. There, the interesting part about this recession is that the services sector of the economy and the goods sectors of the economy are completely different this time around because services were the risky thing mostly. And services spending dropped off significantly, as we all know. We weren't going out to restaurants, we weren't going out to movies, spas, we weren't getting personal trainers, we weren't doing service-based consumer economic activities for quite a long time because of the public health concerns around that. And so that consumption really dropped off. But a lot of goods consumption actually did pick up. And that was because we were going out to restaurants less, so we were cooking more. So we were spending more money on food. The cost of food rose because of supply chain issues. So both in terms of our consumption of it, but also in terms of the total dollar values that we were spending on it, it was driven up. We also saw that more expensive luxury food goods were increasing. Alcohol consumption, which we always say goes up during recessions, it's considered counter-cyclical. It spiked a lot more because it was alcohol consumption, not like physical imbibing, but alcohol consumption, meaning the buying of alcohol. We don't actually know whether or not people drink the alcohol that they buy. At least not in my sector. That's for the public health people to study, not the economists. But the purchases of alcohol rose quite a lot because people were buying more alcohol at home. So people are more likely to buy something like an expensive beer than they are to go out and buy an extremely expensive washing machine. There was also a lot of expectations around, income dropping at the very beginning of this recession. But what we saw in rich economies that were able to put money into investing into stimulus packages, essentially, into replacing lost income from having to shut down sectors of their economy through stimulus packages, unemployment, whatever kind of the support system that rich countries had the money to do. Like in America, even though there was high unemployment, there was a lot of economic uncertainty, simultaneously, we actually had the largest rise in personal disposable income because people's spending on services dropped a lot, but because of the stimulus package, the extended unemployment benefits, things like that, having lower transportation costs by not commuting to work for a large sector of the economy, we actually saw that people had more money to spend, but they were nervous about spending it on really big things, right? So people were like, they were like, wow, I have so much disposable income. I'm saving a little bit for future uncertainty because if we've learned anything from 2020 and 2021 is that expect the unexpected. You can't make predictions or certainties about the future. So people were saving it, but a small luxury like an $120 planner, lipstick, is exactly the kind of luxury that you can have when you have a personal increase in spending. And we see increases in these small luxuries in all sectors of households. So obviously, the largest spending on luxury goods is always in rich households. Like rich people spend more on luxuries. Is that a surprise? No. But as far as things that are sort of in the indulgence category and that are these small luxuries, beauty products fall into this category. Certain kinds of clothing fall into this category. The, beer, the chocolate, certain things fall into the categories of consumable luxuries. in that category, we see an increase in consumption amongst lower income households and middle income households and rich households. So rich households and generally luxuries tend to be less impacted by recessions than other things. So as consumers, right, us out here, the working folk, are less likely to be spending on luxury goods regardless of the time. But the truly wealthy that are not deriving most of their income from a salary, but are deriving it from their ownership of either their ownership or their money making its own money, the bourgeoisie, so to speak, in Marxian terms, right? So the bourgeoisie, they spend money on luxury no matter what, and their incomes tend to be less affected by recessions. However, the majority of luxury consumption is luxury services. They couldn't buy luxury services at the same rate, right? There was a while there where no matter how rich you were, you couldn't hire a yacht, right? And so it was it's very interesting to see what's happening around consumable luxuries, because rich people that couldn't go spend on the luxury services that they are so well known for, the yachts, the first class and private airplane tickets, all of those things. Instead, they were buying really expensive handbags, silk scarves. They were, buying the kinds of small consumable goods that turn over in the consumable luxury markets. So it's very fascinating. Yes, Emily says, hate it when the yacht market is trashed. I mean, it's a lot of people that work on those yachts, so sucks for them. Yeah, and I think it's interesting to think about like what we choose to do. So when the kind of belief in the lipstick theory originally traced back to the Great Depression, and there are some price indexes, some economists that essentially said that cosmetic sales increased by 25%, despite the fact that the economy had a huge pullback on buying things during the Great Depression. And we also saw kind of similar things happen. Mr. Lauder of the Estee Lauders said that consumption of lipsticks had increased during the Great Recession in the United States. He was initially quoted as saying the sales had doubled, and then later he walked back and said they'd increased but not doubled. It's really hard to get a good consumer price index of lipstick, but we can look at beauty sales as a whole, and we do have a belief that there are certain beauty products that are considered more essentials and people are less likely to cut back. So something like mascara, foundation, versus, lash tints, which is also a service. And I'm trying to think, I'm not very good at beauty products. So now I'm struggling to think of what are other things that people buy in the beauty world. Anyway, it's definitely really fascinating to kind of see how this changes and why we do it. And there's the greater aggregate economy idea of why we do it, where we have more cash to spend and nowhere to spend it. If you're in a rich country, the other reason is that you are hedging your bets. Essentially, you don't really feel like even if your situation feels certain right now, there's so much uncertainty in the world that you want that temporary panacea of, okay, I've acquired something. This small luxury is going to make me feel like I have control over something in my life. It's going to make me delight in it every time. And particularly with something like planners, like buying an $160 or $120 planner, is that you can create narratives in your head about how it's going to change your life, right? Which we can do with any sort of thing that we want to buy. But when it comes to essential items, right, like groceries, things like that, we don't build up these internal narratives of I'm feeling uncertain and therefore I need to go to the grocery store and buy myself a dozen eggs and milk, right? If you are in a rich country, if you are not in an incredibly economically precarious position, you aren't thinking about your weekly grocery shop as though it is the kind of thing that is um, going to provide you with a ton of pleasure, right? Maybe you are, but generally that's not how people perceive of it. But the idea that if you get a, nice handbag or planner or a instant pot, any of these number of things, you will become the kind of person that you are imagining uses this. You have this like fantasy of what it is. The journaling broom says, I would think lipstick sales would go down, makeup too, because people wearing masks, and that doesn't go too well with makeup. They have in fact gone up. Beauty sales have gone up. It has been an interesting kind of measure of this economy because in the very beginning, when they were doing interviews with various consumer goods groups, and they were like, clothing consumption really tanked. And it isn't really a surprise to us. We weren't going to offices anymore. You don't need to replace your nice office clothes if you've been wearing the same pajamas for 5 weeks, right? And clothing has not come back in the same way. But lipstick is something that we always expect to see increase in recessions because lipstick can change your appearance for much less money than other kinds of beauty items. So getting a full set of foundation is very expensive. As someone who had to buy, I only learned about makeup in like my 30s because I was on camera. And when I went to buy it, I was like, this is how much people spend? Oh my gosh. So yeah, lipstick is something that can like freshen up your appearance. And it's even easier in times of having a lot of meetings on Zoom because really you can look awake by just putting on some lipstick without having to do the rest of it, right? So yeah, Denise says, my friends are using more makeup for on-camera use now. I have noticed that a lot of the beauty review channels are reviewing both foundations and masks as a like based on their mask proofness, and they're all doing like mask tests now. I find it very fascinating. I wear masks mainly. The only time I have to wear masks is leaving the house to work out because I work from home otherwise, and I do not wear makeup under a mask because I am sweating under it for 2 hours, and that is just a disaster. So, Denise says I wear surgical masks daily, and I still wear lipstick because it keeps me from chewing my lips. Ha! I've gone through a lot more chapstick because of the masks. I feel like because I'm like constantly building up sweat behind the mask when I'm working out at the rink. So Deloitte, which is a consulting firm, has done some sort of, looking into what happened with the different kinds of consumer trends. And among durable goods, which durable goods are essentially, think about expensive things. So, vehicles, washing machines are considered durable goods. Anything that you're going to have for 5 to 10 years is considered a durable good. Travel, transportation, and restaurant spending completely tanked during 2020, but people were stockpiling food and other essentials, and they were spending more on home gems, furnishings, and utilities. Exactly. I mean, utilities was because they were home a lot more, and that one was pretty obvious. Also, the cost of some energy was very volatile. So for some people, their energy prices were really dropping because they use natural gas. And then we had spikes when we had a hack. Or they had power outages. There was utilities were all over the place in the past year and a half because climate change. But the people were spending a lot more on home gems, furnishings, things to replace the fact that they were now spending so much more time at home. But their biggest surge among durable goods was recreational goods and vehicles. So essentially, going out, getting RVs or hockey sticks, what other kind of skis would be considered a durable good? Semi-durable, depending on who you ask. And that's like a great example because people weren't able to have gyms, so they were trying to find ways to like step out and kind of make money like that. What's very fascinating is that despite being in this really tough economic period right now where we're not technically in a recession anymore in the United States, most of the EU is out of the recession. China is still technically in a recession, but theirs was never quite as deep as ours was. One reason that China has not suffered quite as much is because, in addition to doing a better job of controlling the pandemic than the United States, in terms of catching it early and being able to put more restrictions on citizens, that led to better public health measures. Their economy is not as service-based as ours. So the U.S. economy is very, very service-based, as we've talked about ad nauseum. But guess what Americans did? We were locked at home. We couldn't spend on services. We bought things from Amazon. And when we bought things from Amazon, where do most of those things come from at some point on the supply chain? China. Which the supply chain has been like completely screwed up. And that has had a negative effect because they weren't able to come back online as quickly. We've had a shipping container fiasco. We've had steel issues. Everyone's having supply chain problems right now in all sorts of different sectors of the economy. But China was well posed to take advantage of the fact that we were now spending money on goods rather than services. And consumer spending overall in North America was up 5% by June of pre-COVID-19 levels because of the stimulus packages, because of the expanded unemployment benefits in the United States, expanded child tax credit in Canada. So yeah. Craig says, not too much lipstick here, but I can relate. I now have every color Sharpie and gel pen known to humankind. Part of a well-stocked office supply closet at my house. Isn't it kind of nice to have exactly the office supplies you want at your house rather than whatever was bought in bulk at your office? I always have the delight of, as someone who's self-employed and has built up my own pen supply cabinet of yes, it's so much better than whatever the nonprofit dug up from Goodwill or got donated in bulk from a sponsor. That's always what we had. I found this pretty interesting report from the Norwegian Central Bank. It was an internal staff memo from the Norwegian Central Bank. And the big thing that they kind of spoke to, which I feel instinctually makes sense to us, is that durable goods consumption, so things like huge purchases, things that you think about for quite a long time, like cars, washing machines, new ACs in your home, whatever it might be, they're particularly sensitive to uncertainty because the view that purchases of durables are hard to reverse, right? Buying a new car entails a high fixed cost since its value drops as soon as you drive off the lot. And so there's essentially in economic theory this idea of you want to, in times of uncertainty, postpone irreversible choices. And I've seen this in myself. I've been buying things like planners because I'm this is not that irreversible of a choice. One, this is equivalent to me for, this is a couple hours wages. For me, it's a half day's wages to spend a lot on an expensive planner. And I have a belief that at least some portion of it is reversible because I have the belief that if I don't like it, I can probably resell and recapture some of it. But buying something like a car is much harder to reverse. Fuzzbubble says, I guess I'm an exception. I bought a mattress, a fridge, and a car during the pandemic. You are defying literally all of the statistics. I find this very interesting. Yes, a mattress is also a durable good. The yeah, fridges. Thank you for reminding me. Such an important part of my daily life, and yet I kept forgetting them as far as durable goods. I can only think of washing machines for some reason. It's like the classic example in economics class, so it's like built into me. Um, I, it's very fascinating to kind of look at this and look at the like internal reasons that we do this. So one of the things that we've seen, I found a dissertation from Michelle Jenkins from University of Southern California about the luxury appeal. Like essentially what Michelle Jenkins looked at was whether or not luxury brands had any of the lipstick effect during the Great Recession. And what they found was that a lot of luxury companies tried to capitalize on the fact that people wanted affordable luxuries during the Great Recession by introducing entry level products. So, usually beauty items and fragrances that would attract new consumers to their luxury brand in order to establish some sort of lifelong connection with the brand. So, a great example would be trying to introduce, someone into a $80, $60 fragrance. I really don't know that much about fragrances, so please, I say don't know that much. I know zero about fragrances. But I feel like $60 to $80 is a high-end, low high-end fragrance. Anybody want to correct me on this? Anyway, build that so that you start to have that cachet of like, oh, I have a Chanel luxury fragrance. It's entry level and it gets you the association with that luxury brand because consumers, we're already seeing the because we're technically out of the recession in the United States, the post-recession peak of luxury spending as it starts to come back online. We've also seen this past recession spending on jewelry. Jewelry is typically extremely hard hit during recessions, but it's actually experienced a growth in this crisis. And it could be because we all want to have our fabulous earrings on our Zoom calls. It could be because jewelry, especially at the lower end, is a affordable luxury, right? Like, sure, you might not be going and spending $20,000 on a ring, but you might spend $100 on a ring. You might spend a day's wages on a ring, which is an affordable luxury, right? Joe says, ooh, is this the reason I've been struggling to buy a fry pan? It's more expensive than my small luxury purchases and feels irreversible. You finally bought them yesterday. Congratulations for finally buying them. I am someone who knows the struggles of procrastinating on consumer purchases. It's possible. I like how so far all of your examples are I don't know much about this product market. I know like a little bit about skincare and like I know the markets for some sort of beauty things, but you know what we can talk about that I know way too much about? Planners. Emily says, yes, a bottle of Invisible Authors perfume, I'm going to assume that's a brand, is $95. See? I read consumer price indexes. I just spent like way too long reading about the cost of paper based on the average laborer in 1600 England. So if you want to know, the average laborer made 6 to 12 pence a day, could purchase 75 sheets of paper with the day's wages. So in 1600, the average annual consumption per household was 6 sheets of paper. So that's about a penny per year spent on paper. I was wondering if paper was considered an expensive consumable, but compared to other things like food, candles, oils, and textiles, it really was not an expensive consumable. Yes. Anyway, so this is why I know any of the price of anything. So leisure-related products also rose, and the reason leisure-related products rose is because they are usually seen as replacements for leisure-related services. So I don't know. It's definitely very fascinating to look at that. Should we dive into planners now? Anybody have any questions about consumer price index or the lipstick effect? Or how you personally get over trying to buy consumable luxuries in times of uncertainty? I think I think the first question to ask yourself if you are struggling with buying consumable luxuries when you are feeling uncertain is to ask yourself if it's just okay to do that. Um, because things are hard right now and you deserve that fancy chocolate, or you are living through a global pandemic. So it's okay if you want to get some fancy chocolate or some fragrance or a fancy planner. Um, that being said, if you find that it isn't doing for you what you'd hoped, right? Like you aren't getting the satisfaction out of it that you had hoped for, then there are some scenarios, some ways to kind of help deal with it. One is to implement waiting periods. So, waiting periods are, I think, extremely valuable if you are someone that kind of struggles with the impulse side of wanting to buy luxuries. So, something emotional happens to you, you're stalking your ex at 2 a.m. on Facebook and discover that, their new girlfriend is really hot or whatever. And then suddenly you're on Amazon buying cat snuggies or whatever it might be. uh, Perfect example is to implement waiting periods for things that are non-essential purchases if you find that you are not getting value out of it. The second thing that I like to do is actually I use a spreadsheet. Maybe you want to use a nice page in your planner, that a list of the items you want, what category they're in, and how much you want them on a scale of 1 to 10, and how much they are, and create it as a running list. I actually have been keeping a things I want list for essentially luxuries, non-essential items, going since I was 18 years old, and it has been extremely fun to look back at the things I want list of what I wanted as an 18-year-old crust punk in the Midwest to the things I want now. They are universally more expensive, the things I want now, but mostly more practical. So, um, should we eat a donut and then go to the planner, or should we just go straight to the planners? I don't know, anybody have any economic questions? I told you that I would try to at least make this economically related, but now it's just going to turn into pure planner content. Donut, are we voting on the donut? Joe says donut. All right, we can do donut. Ooh, we can use the overhead cam for the donut. Instead of me holding it up to the camera today. I don't know if that really works super well, but oh look, it looks very cute with the Budgetober cats. Boop. All right, so this donut is a sour peach donut, and it has like a super like sparkly, crusty top, but it's just like a regular donut on the bottom. I think I've had this before. It is very spooky. I'm in the fall season vibes. I'm totally ready for fall, which is why I need a planner. I've got a very stressful fall coming up, so I need more planners because I'm uncertain. Also, in the vein of consumable luxuries, because I was supposed to be on vacation last week and I wasn't in Denmark where everything is very expensive, it was very easy to justify anytime I wanted to do anything and be like, well, I'm supposed to be in Denmark, so if I go get myself a ice cream sandwich for $6 or whatever, it's still less than I would pay to just be awake in Denmark. I used I am on vacation as justification a lot last week. It was okay. I'm very sad it's my last vacation day. Why do we have to go to work to make money to buy planners? Okay. This is not as sour as I remember it being last time. It kind of just tastes like a fruit donut. It's just not that sour. 3 out of 5. It has good flavor, but it's nothing spectacular. It's just not that sour. Is the donut peach or just cream on top? It's like, it's not even the cream. It's like sort of like a frosting style. But no, the donut's just a regular donut. Oh my gosh, I'm going to struggle to pronounce your username here. Nagak Vik Hennessy. I had to turn off my bank card because, oh my gosh, the amount of leather covers I got for my Hobonichi planners. And I splurged on a Hobonichi cover, lol. It happens, man. So can you turn off your bank card in such a way where you can just turn it off for like the Hobonichi website? That is one way to control impulse spending, is just make it impossible for you to spend money. Now I have to clean my hands of the donut before I touch the planners. I forgot to bring in a napkin. Just watch me lick my hands on camera. For the really good content, you can subscribe to the Oh My Dollar Patreon. It's like OnlyFans, but only donuts. I don't know. That wasn't a very good joke. So now we're going to get into planner content because it's my vacation. I can do what I want to. So the planner that I was contemplating getting last week is the Hobonichi Techo Cousin. And I do an unboxing, but I ordered it from Atlas Stationery. No, I ordered it from, Atlas Stationery, I believe. And therefore it just came in a regular package. It didn't come in like the Hobon. It was just the planner. It is a 2-book planner, and this first book is January through June, and the second book is July through December. I am like absolutely in love with this, and probably the biggest disappointment that I have right now is that it is not time to start this yet. It is extremely similar to the Mosseri planner. So there are a lot of similarities to the Mosseri Twin Book, which is what I have been using, except that my planner part was only for 6 months, and I didn't want to pay shipping to get a $9.50 book. So the Mosseri Twin Book that I have has just like a plain grid book in the front. You can pick what kind of book you want to get. And then the second side is just weekly. So it is different in that it doesn't have like detailed daily pages, but a lot of I'm going to try to find one that I didn't write on a ton. This is a pretty empty one because I knew the planner end was nigh. So the layout for the Mosseri is like, it's very similar, but that doesn't have a 24-hour timeline. So what I really, really like about the way the Hobonichi is that it's very grid-like, and it goes from 5 a.m. to 4 a.m. versus this one goes a full 24 hours. This one goes from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. This was a problem I always had, is that I always worked. I started work at 5:30 in the morning, or earlier, depending on my job. And because of that, I would really struggle to use one of these planners. I like to have extremely detailed timelines. I currently have a much less scheduled life. I have a lot of projects going on, but a lot less of a schedule. But I got so excited about this that I scanned it and have been doing like my little plan for my week. So this was my vacation week, so I had less things on it, but I just really wanted to try it out. So I scanned in next year's and like changed the dates in it because I really think this is going to work extremely well for me. I have been using since September or since June 30th when my Mosseri planner ran out. I have been using just my Mark's Edit, which is another Japanese brand, and this is so this is a B6 size right here. The Mosseri is a B6. You can see it's a little smaller than the A5 Hobonichi Cousin. And this one is a slightly smaller B6. Not all B6s or B5s are going to be exactly the same size. This one, I do really like kind of the layout. So it has a 24-hour layout, but it only marks from 6 a.m. to 21. So 6 to 9, similar to this. But if you need to use every hour, you can. But because I don't have a ton of meetings, I just kind of mark the meeting on the side. And then this is just where I do the to-do lists. I have been really struggling without a weekly view, though, because the Mark's Edit, I was originally using this as my journal at the beginning of the year because I had a weekly planner. And then I switched once I ran out of having a weekly planner into using it mostly for to-dos. And then it only has this monthly view, which I don't use a ton. So I'm really excited to have everything in one book. I contemplated getting the Avec or Cousin. I had to sit there with the pros or cons before getting there. I ended up getting the Cousin in an A5 and the Avec in an A6. Lol. I knew that the A6 was going to be too small for me because this B6 size only works this small for me because it's only daily. There's no way I could. One, I needed the weekly pages, and two, I needed this only works because it's only daily pages for me. So I liked the Mosseri a lot. I was planning on using it again, but the shipping is quite expensive, and I was just kind of slowly melting down without having a weekly view, and that's kind of what led me down the path of trying out the Hobonichi Cousin. But meanwhile, I may create kind of DIY my own B6 Cousin. So I also got this book, which I'm trying to decide if I'm going to resell or I'm going to keep. This is the Midori Day Length Graduation Diary. And it is a B6 size, so it is bigger than the A6 Hobonichi. It is a weekly view, but it fits perfectly within a couple other covers I have. And it's really gorgeous. It has a 24-hour view, just the same as the Hobonichi here. But it has a graduation based on the sunset and sunrise in Japan, which is slightly different hours than where I live, but I think it's like a nice way to have some color. And it's made in the Midori paper, which I love the Midori paper. It's a lot thicker. It's less thin than the Hobonichi Techo Tomo River paper that everybody loves so much. But I do really like this size, and what I realized I could do is get the Jimbun Techo Day Length Diary, and then I can fit it in and make kind of like DIY my own cousin or twin book into one of these planners. This will fit if I take off the cover. So I could like DIY my own little Hobonichi Cousin B6, which is, I think, kind of one of the perfect lengths. But you can effectively do this with the Mosseri, which is a much lower price point. So these run, the full year for this without the cover runs about 60 US here. Either it's a little less money if you get it directly from Hobonichi, but then you have to pay shipping from Japan. If you get it from a US reseller, they're almost all $60. The Mosseri planner, if you get it from a US reseller, is about 29 to 30 US dollars. So it's much lower price, and you can get a bunch of different covers, but they're hard book covers. So Um, I don't know. I'm still in the fence. I'm either gonna resell this graduation diary because I have become completely in love with the cousin already, and the I also got myself a cover for this. So I really struggled because I did not want to pay $60 for a cover, but I also kind of wanted the Hobonichi experience. So I'm gonna put the iPad up so we don't need to do the overhead view. So the screen mirroring office. So the cover that I got is this one, which is I think 2019 cover, but it's coming from Japan. And I spent $60 on this, including shipping from Japan. It's fine. The one that I want is of course $120, but I'm not going to do it. I do not have overextended elbows like the lineup. So I guess it was a last year cover, but I got it on eBay from a reseller and I like it. I wanted to get a Hobonichi cover, but I also didn't want to spend a ton of money, and it seems like $40 to $60 is really the range for the Hobonichi covers even used. The one that I really like is of course the one that I'm not willing to spend $120 on a cover. Maybe if I get so much productivity and I love the Hobonichi cult, then I will try to pick one of these up in the future. But for me, I don't think I'm going to get the kind of value out of this as so this is the one that I really like, which is a designer cover, and it is $120 pretty much. So I'm not going to get this one. I'm not willing to spend $120 on just the cover. So, Fuzzbubbles says, that's a nice cover. Thanks. That's a great cover. Thank you. I'm fairly excited about it. I'm excited to join the Hobonichi world. I have a securities licensing exam that I'm studying for in the last half of this year. I'm taking a German class. I'm working full time. I'm running a weekly podcast live stream plus shipping on all of my stores. And I feel like I have a lot of projects going on, and therefore I need more planners. So I did end up, so I kind of was like, this is not the most sustainable thing, continuing to print these little sheets out in order to try this out. So I did find someone on Facebook who for like less than $20 is going to sell me this booklet, the July through December book for the Hobonichi Techo, but for this year, so that I can get started on trying it out and trying the format out. I think it's going to work well for my brain. The grid is nice and it's flexible, and I do really like the paper. I mostly write with two things. I write with this Kaweco fountain pen, and then I write with the like dense markers. So this is a Le Pen like 0.3. And then the one other things I do write with, because you need erasable pens in the year of 2020, is the Friction Clickers pens. But these have a pretty thick nub and I don't like them as much, especially in the tiny little Mark's Edit book. They just look really big in them. So I don't know. I'm excited to try this out. My cover may never come. I actually ordered it from Australia. I forgot. I ordered it from Australia, so it's shipped already, but the predicted arrival time is like November. I, of course, got a offer on eBay for that Manamo cover that I really, really liked for $100. And this is how price anchoring works, because I've been anchored to $120 now. I was like, $100. This is totally a thing that I can do. And then I was like, think about all the other things that you could buy with $100. Think of how much savings that is. And it's just to have a vanity cover. Like, I work from home. I'm not even taking it around for other people. I'm sure I will get a thrill out of seeing it, but am I really going to get $100 of thrill out of seeing that cover? Probably not. Fuzz says, I use Mossery less as a planner and more as a to-do list and journal. Love it for that. Yeah, I use mine. So I use Google Calendar at work, but the way that I use my planner is that every Sunday I sit down and I do my planner for the next week. And I don't do time blocking in my Google Calendar. I just do like concrete appointments, of which I have very few these days. But I work billable hours at work, so I use my planner to actually do like the time blocking and the planning of projects. This is like a weird week to show off, but because this was my vacation week, so I was off from my day job. So almost everything was just my ice skating time. So I didn't have like a ton of tangible appointments this week. But for me, it's more about the act of writing it down in the planner. The Journaling Broom says, oh yeah, you're a fountain user too. Yeah, I really enjoy writing with fountain pens now. This was actually a pandemic purchase. It was I want to support businesses that are closed, and I was lucky enough to not lose my income during the pandemic. So in like March 2020 or April 2020, I bought this from a local shop. I used to use like quills and fountain pens when I was younger, but I lost my ability to really effectively write by hand for a bunch of years due to rheumatoid arthritis. And now that I am treated for rheumatoid arthritis, I can write short things. And the fountain pen really does reduce drag for me. So I can write almost a full B6 page. So like relatively small page without having to give up writing. So I do like the fountain pen for that, but I prefer the look of like a felt tip pen, but you know. Pineapple says, better block out some Jane and the Austins time. I would like to block some Jane and the Austins time out. That might be a 2022 project, because I feel like the rest of 2021 is not going to involve any making of music. While I was running the other day, dreaming up some nice tunes about economic uncertainty around the 4% safe withdrawal rate in Pride and Prejudice. So Ngok Vuk says, I got the A5 for my desk planner, but the A6 is for work. I had to get the weekly supplement because I love my weeklies. Yeah, I didn't realize how important the weeklies were to me. Like, I think about my to-do list as like a daily thing, but I think about my time in terms of weeks at a time, as opposed to the day at a time. And once the weekly went away, I started, like, once mine ran out at the end of June, I was slowly going mad. The weekly supplement looked too small for me. So the weekly supplement that they're referring to is a A6 size, so even smaller than this. It's like about yay size. That has you can get this kind of weekly layout in that size, but the grid is maybe the wrong size for me, in addition to I really can't plan my week in something that small. So I'd like to block out Jane and the Austen Times, Pineapple. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions with Hobonichi? I'm very excited. As you can tell, I'm so excited that I decided to lay myself out on a vacation week, my own version of the weekly. I'm really excited that I'm going to get one of these. The thing I'm worried about is I'm definitely just going to have a ton of wasted pages with the one that I got, because I'm probably not going to be using the dailies because I like completeness, and I want to finish my B6 Mark's Edit. Maybe I should switch this back to being a journal instead of being my to-do list here. Also, please look at this washi tape. I want you to appreciate how adorable this washi tape is. That is a good transition into telling you how you can get some fun cat stickers. So, if you do not know, we are launching Budgetober again for October on the Oh My Dollar forums. And Budgetober has it is essentially a October budgeting challenge. It's very flexible, so it doesn't have to be budgeting with spreadsheets. It doesn't have to be tracking every single purchase. You can pick a specific area that you want to focus on. The main thing is that you pick an area, you try to predict what you're going to spend, you track what you're going to spend in that area, or it could be your whole budget, and then you report every Friday. And you get badges on the Oh My Dollar forums, and then I send you adorable Halloween-themed stickers. So show some of the previous year's stickers are adorable. So this is a little ghost cat. And this was they're mostly cat themed because we're personal finance. And this is a pumpkin cat. And these were previous years. This was 2019's and this was 2020's. And for 2021, we have a super cute one. I think that we're going to be able to put on the screen. So this is the Budgetober cat for this year. And I'm actually going to make like a whole sticker sheet with all of the past cats on it too. So there will be multiple versions of the Budgetober cat. And it's all like Halloween themed. We're very low key. We're not going to shame anybody. It's just a good way to get some community support and like try out budgeting. It's totally free. I send you the stickers anywhere in the world for free if you complete it. So yeah, it's very fun. Denise says, I don't understand how people can write comfortably smaller than A5. My hand doesn't like being half off the page of that size, but I keep trying because A6 fits in my lunch bag. I mean, I think that seems fair. I don't care so much about portability right now. So the A5, I was worried about it just becoming like huge, but I'm not going to be moving around a ton. I like to believe that in 2021 or 2022, hopefully one of the things I'm planning is this Guinness World Records attempt trip to visit every EU country by scheduled surface transportation. And since this is a daily planner, I might theoretically like to take it as like a travel journal, and like maybe do that. But other than that, I don't think portability is going to be extremely important to me. So Take a Note planner uses Tomo River paper and is a week on 4 pages. No daily. It's great. So the thing for me is that I was always like, I don't need a daily planner. I have no interest in a daily planner. And then I was, because I didn't have a weekly planner, because I was unwilling to spend $20 on shipping for a $950 supplement for the rest of the year. The irony being that apparently I was willing to spend $60 to get into an entirely new planner brand. I had to start using this as my written planner. I use a lot of online tools. Like I have to track all my time at work. I track my time on Toggle and Harvest. I use Llama Life, which I highly recommend as a task timer. It's very cute. It's on my computer. It sets alarms. I have to estimate for individual tasks that I'm working on, but I still really need to write down a to-do list. And so I started using the dailies for that purpose. And I found that I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the flexibility and the space. I used to try to cram them like into the weekly view. And I feel like this works better, especially for things that need to happen on specific days for me. But I need both. I think I need both. But maybe I'm just like kind of overwhelming it. Denise says, the budget challenges on Oh My Dollar forums are so welcome, and I love being able to spill all. You can use it to talk about why you want to spend money on planners. It's fine. I'm glad. We try to be welcoming. Do you use tabs on that? On which one? I waited too long and now I don't know. On this guy, I do not use tabs at all. There are tabs on the side of the Mark's Edit one. I don't really find that I need it because it's just a daily planner for me. So I just move the string along and it mostly stays open, which is kind of one of the advantages of having a B6. Um, I would like to do tabs on this. My problem was that, of course, I was researching what are the prettiest tabs that I can get, and I kind of spiraled out of control, not being sure which ones I want to do. So I also have tabs from, I have the double scheduler that I got in Japan, and it came with tabs, but the tabs don't fit the color scheme. So, you know, I can't find it. I feel like a week on 4 pages would not work for me. I like to see the week all at one glance. I don't like have to like flip back and forth. I don't know if it would work for me. Denise says I can also only do vertical. I have this weird problem with weekly where actually vertical entirely all the time. I don't think horizontally. I think in list, and like I see my week as a vertical format. I lost my monitor, just so you know. I used to only use weekly and monthly planners, but I currently love daily and weekly. I haven't found my sweet spot in one planner yet, though. So the problem I'm concerned about is that I've become in love with the Hobonichi Techo now, but I have the Jimbun Techo days coming as well. So in many ways, this shouldn't be how I spent $120 on a planner. It really should be how I spent $160 on several different planners. But I'm excited to kind of contrast and compare the two. The one that I got for the Jimbun Techo is the B6 Slim. So it's the same size as this. So it might actually be a good in-between size. I'm a little worried about how big the A5 pages are and like the pressure to fill these in. But my job is not to make them pretty. My job is to make them functional. Like I'm mostly a functional planner who enjoys a little bit of color. And, you know, I have purple ink in my one fountain pen. Oh yeah, as a fountain pen user, I have one fountain pen and one ink that I've been going through the box of for the Kuiko Sport. And I would like to have more, but I also don't. I kind of appreciate that I only have one. Pineapple says, we love Llama Life. It's even helping Katie's coworkers with ADHD. It is like literally built for the ADHD brain. I really like it. As someone who has to track all of my time for work and has tracked my time on like other tasks for a really long time, I find it super useful because I usually know how long a task is going to take me. It's about starting it. So being forced to estimate my tasks and then knowing that a clock is ticking down, it's really great. I don't think I linked to it down here, but it is really fabulous. Just look up Llama Life Co. It's great. Joe says, I used to use a planner like the Mosseri Horizontal and tried out vertical when I got Mosseri. Turns out I love it and ignore the times on the side and just list events and tasks done each day. Yeah, I like one thing that I ran into with the Mosseri is that I used to be like have a heavily scheduled day. Actually, I'm gonna find my planner from when I had a super here. This is from 2017. And you can see how my, like, these are one of my jobs. So you can see just, like, quite how much I had a very scheduled sort of life when I was using this passion planner. And also, wow, I really used some strong colors back then. Yeah, so you can see, like, just how much more scheduled I am as compared to look at the Mosseri during the year of our COVID, 2021. Look at how my week looks. Like, on the actual scheduled part of the days, it's like... Part of it is just that I work a 40-hour-a-week job, but... we really try not to have meetings in that job. So I only have a total of an hour of meetings a week in that job. It's like one 45-minute stand-up, and then every other week I have an hour-and-a-half meeting. So since we have so few jobs or so few meetings, I ended up running into doing a lot of my like checklists at the bottom of the page. So the yeah, this was like kind of a busy week during the pandemic, and that's how like few meetings I had. So my day is very unscheduled, baby, right? So I thought vertical wouldn't work, but seeing the work all at once stops me overbooking myself. That's what is like the problem that I have with using Google Calendar for is that you can keep just stacking events on top of each other. Like somehow, because you can't really do that, it just doesn't, yeah, it just didn't really work for me. I pretty much live in the week view of my Fantastical app on my computer. Whenever I get stuck in the day view of my Google Calendar at work, I'm like, this is so dumb because I have at most one event per day. The only like the only definite event that I have every single day on my Google Calendar is at 4:05. I have a reminder to make sure that all my time tracking is up to date because we track time live at my job because we're billable hours. But sometimes you'll forget and you'll realize that you were like tagging it to the wrong product, wrong project or something like that. And so at 4:05, I have a check timesheets to like make sure that I have my timesheets going, which I did get pinged with every day last week despite being on vacation, which would have been at like 2 a.m. In Denmark. At work, I'm all digital. I have 2 versions of Outlook open, one in my week view. I'm sorry that you're stuck in Microsoft 365 world. It's not my favorite world to be in. Should we look at Floof of the Week? Does anybody want to talk about planners more? Do you want to see any more comparisons? One other thing that I didn't break out was the, this is the Jimbun Techo, and they are A5 Slim, so they also come in B6 Slim size, so you can see it's like almost the same size, but it has a slightly smaller on the side. I did, as everybody recommended, because I was so worried, I did immediately put a Midori cover on it. I use Midori as sort of my travel journals and my like project notebooks when I do paper planning. I actually don't do a lot of project planning on paper outside of planners, but I do love Midori paper, and so I have one of these covers, so I put it on it, and that is an Oh My Dollar sticker. I have a less safe for work version of that, but I felt like I should use the work kit one instead of the business pussy one. Nobi says, I'm a religious A6 Hobonichi user and wanted to try an A5, but an A5 page per day seemed overwhelming. The Take a Note A5 is a good half step between Hobonichi's weekly and daily pages. That makes sense. Is it vertical or is it horizontal? Should I pull it up on the iPad before we get to Floof of the Week? Let's look at, we can do whatever we want. I'm supposed to be on vacation, so I can just look at planners with you all. Okay, let's look at, oh, so it's also a Japanese planner. Is this true? Taiwanese, it may be Taiwanese. It looks like it's in standard Chinese. Let's see if I can get someone to just show me the layout. Why does no one have pictures of the layout? Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, I see. It is pretty much just like a Hobonichi in between weekly and dailies. It would so not work for me, but I like the idea. I could see it working really well for some people. I need that like weekly vertical view, and then it has like a really open kind of grid style there. Yeah, I could see this working really well for oh, that's interesting. It has like the side pane. where you could put like appointments. That actually, yeah, I this is a very interesting layout. So is it Chinese? Is it a Chinese planner? Natu Press. Shiguire Inks is the seller, which sounds like a Japanese name. I am curious. Anyway, that's really cool. That is super interesting. Thanks for showing that off and telling us about that. Should we open the floof of the week here? Oh no, did I just turn something off? Did I turn everything off? You're stuck looking at whatever I... Everything is broken. I broke everything. Don't mind me. Now you all just have to view everything from the top. The A5 has international version, A6 has Chinese holidays and days of the week, I believe. All right, do we want to see the cats, our floofs of the week? All right, so these are our floofs of the week. This is Erica and Snuggles. So our floofs of the week are the floofs from our Patreons that support Oh My Dollar with $1 or more per month towards our programs where we teach personal finance to low-income youth and also supports the live streams of the podcast and everything. So we like to say thank you and show off some cats and get some good cat content. Also puppies. I shouldn't be biased. Maybe some reptiles sometime. So this is Greywald, who is a Oh My Dollar patron or Personal Finance Society members. Kittens here. They like long walks along the windowsill and they like naps together. Let me see what else we know about them. They long naps by the window, long walks along the window, and they like trying to eat bugs from the other side of the window. So it seems like most of their activities seem to revolve around the window. Look at these. 10 out of 20 would snuggle. Very cute. Look at this. Look at the toe beans holding the other toe beans. This is the important content you came for. Look at the toe beans. That's it. That's our floof of the week. Floof of the week. We need a sound bite for floof of the week. They are babies. Look at those two. They are so cute. I don't know. Do we want to cover any other exciting things about planning? I can't wait till I get my... I also totally want to buy like a $10 glittery cover from Amazon, but I don't feel like I should support buying a $10 glittery cover from Amazon. I just want an exciting cover with like, you know, but I do have a pen loop here. I really shouldn't. I have stuff. This is where the consumerism comes in. I'm like, but I want to have the prettiest version of it. This does have like a vellum in it right now, and I am going to try to print an Oh My Dollar vellum, possibly a seasonal one with tiny little ghost cats and witch cats on it. So if I can manage to get a vellum printed for myself, maybe I'll send the file out to the patrons, maybe to Budgetober completers on the forums. We'll get it. Although the vellum would be kind of late, but yeah, I might try that because I want a little bit of kind of cute things. Would I allow bunnies? Of course I would allow bunnies. It's floof of the week. I mean, I would allow reptiles too. I'm pretty unspecific. Oh yeah. So I did, even though I didn't get it from the official Hobonichi thing, I got the little booklet. And I gotta say, it's pretty great that the booklet is cat themed this year. It's very relevant. And it says, have a Neanderthal year, which is like Nean means cat in Japanese. Actually, now I've become convinced I need to use this in the cover. So you all get to watch this exciting setup. Yes, I do think that bunnies are probably some of the floofiest of all of the floofs in the floof world. This seems like is this meant to do that? That would be very Japanese to have it, like, perfectly designed to actually have the packaging go into the product. Am I the first one to think of doing this? Denise says, have you ever kind of lost your planning routine and had to get back into it? Yeah, I have a problem where it seems like every 6 months I radically change something about my schedule, and my big problem is that it just won't work for me anymore, whatever I'm doing. I have been able to stick with, like, doing the weekly overviews for quite a while, but it turns out I'm not much of a journaler. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a pretty good cover, is it not? Now I have this cute little cover. I feel like that doesn't work as well with it anymore, but look, I made myself a Hobonichi cover out with the Hobonichi, and it even says Lifebook Hobonichi Techo on the front. There we go. I feel pretty proud of my solution there. Not as good as the exciting planner I have that'll come in like November because it's coming from Australia. Part of the reason that I was able to get that planner cover for a reasonable price was because the Australian to US exchange rate is extremely advantageous to Americans right now. So the Australian dollar is pretty weak against the US dollar right now. So I was able to buy it from Australia used at like an advantageous price. Yeah, I like this. It's pretty cute. It's not like my normal color style, but I'll take it. What was I going to say about planning? Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, it's that I always become convinced that a new planner is going to solve my problems. I'm also very excited about new systems. Like, one of the things I personally struggle with is this feeling. I heard Coffee Monster Coz, who is a YouTuber and shop owner, very well known in the planning world. She was talking about the fact that she feels like a lot of pressure to make sure her system is the most functional. And I really resonated with that. I feel like I can't just do things in my planner because they have to be like the most efficient use of the planner. And despite the fact that I objectively know that being into planners as like a indulgence is a hobby that I am doing not purely for the functionality of it, right? Like, I could use a free Google Calendar. I could use a piece of paper from that I folded over that I got from Goodwill or whatever, if I just wanted to convince just wanted to do this purely for functionality. But there is like an aesthetic and a kinesthetic value in it for me. And for me, what often happens is that what I have is no longer serving my lifestyle or the projects I'm working on or the job I'm working on, whatever it is. And I feel guilt about switching away from it because I'm like mentally really obsessed with streaks. But yeah, my personality really likes to develop new systems. So part of it for me is just appreciating that sometimes the value in it for me is setting up the system. So yeah, I'm really excited. That's, I think, one of the reasons I'm excited to try it, the Hobonichi, is that setting up the new system is really fun for me. Thank you, folks, for liking my cute cat cover. I'm pretty proud. Has no one else done this? Am I the first person to do this? I'm definitely not the first person to do this, but I feel brilliant for it. Denise says, my personality loves learning new systems, not so hot on using them long term without boredom. So it's not that I get bored with using them. I get upset if they're not the best, most functional version of it. Like, if I feel like the system isn't done well enough, I'll have shame about not making the best version of the system. And I think that's like one thing I really struggle with. Oh, Katie has bunnies named Benson and Dewey decimal system. Oh, that's very cute. What are your pros and cons for Jimboon Techo? I'm interested but not sure. So I actually stumbled into Jimboon Techo. I couldn't find like US distributors for it at all. I found it when I was in Japan, and I was like, this is literally the planner for me as someone who I track a ton of data. Most of it I actually track online. Um, the problem I didn't like was that in I was in Japan during March, which meant that I was able to get all the April start planners. And the only Jimboon Techo that they release during April is this one, which is the Biz version. I don't like the Biz version because, as you may be able to tell, I love colors. And I'm also pretty lazy, and I don't actually prefer to have to fill in all of my pages with colors. I'm not particularly artistically inclined, but I am very motivated by colors. A problem I ran into is I loved how there were lots of places for data tracking, but because I have a lot of database systems that I've set up far before I was able to write by hand, um, I did not actually find. So, like, here's all the data apps I use. I use this app called Reporter, which I use to track the best thing today, where I am at, who I saw, like every single person I saw during the day, what I wore, my modes of transport. I've used it to track a lot of other things over time. I also track in Daily Tracker, which goes to a Google Sheet, my sleep, miles biked, alcohol, caffeine, mood, hours skated, number of burritos, coffee, um, reading, number of friends seen. Um, the I track time using this app called Life Cycle. And what other things do I track? Oh, I also track all of my food. And I use my Fitness Pal. I have problems with my Fitness Pal because it's very weight loss focused, but it has a huge crowdsourced library of food, and I've been using it for a bunch of years. And anyway, I've been tracking all of that data and more on my phone. And I create like annual reports every year that you can find on my personal website or like on my Instagram or whatever of like artistic things. And the big problem I ran into with Jimboon Techo is that I don't really want to track all of that stuff again in my planner. I thought I did, but I like it's not particularly interesting to just be like leftovers, Brussels, chickpea, stir fry, mac for me. I think the data is beautiful in the aggregate, but I didn't really care about it. I do not love the paper in the Jimboon Techo. It's their own version of like a kind of a Tomo River paper. This one is I have heard this was a 2019 April Start Biz planner. I have heard that they have since changed and improved the paper, and I got a Jimboon Techo Days, which has different kind of paper than the thin paper. But that one is coming tomorrow from Jet Pens, and I am really eager to compare. It works fine with fountain pens. This is fountain pens used on the side here. It does work fine with fountain pens. For me, it wasn't really my ideal planner. What other things about it? Yeah, I think those are the main disadvantages for me. I liked the size. The size is really good for me. I felt like it was kind of too busy. Like, that's one of the reasons I didn't go for the Jimboon Techo over the Hobonichi Techo is like you can do all of this stuff that you can do within the Jimboon Techo in the Hobonichi. If you want to track all of this stuff, you totally can track all of this stuff in the weekly spreads, but it's just like a little more subtle, a little thinner. I think we lost one of our lights, so it might be harder for you to see that. I don't know which one we lost. I've been watching Hobonichi videos every day since the new release. You're the first person I've seen to do this with a cat pamphlet. Yes, I am a genius. Maybe I'll start a trend. I mean, I feel like if people have gotten tons and tons of nice covers, but my cover's probably not going to come for like another month or two because it's coming from Australia. So the big problem for me is going to be resisting buying another cover. We are just like losing lights left and right. Y'all are just going to have to deal with whatever's happening in the background here. Camille says, did you already talk on fountain pens? I'm interested to know your faves. I have one favorite. It is the only one I own. I'm sorry to say. I haven't really gotten into fountain pens. I bought this. I use them. I love using my fountain pen. I find it very easy to write, but I have the Koiko Sport in a special edition color. It's very tiny. It's a cartridge style. I don't think that I personally would be trustable with ink. I used to use ink when I was a kid. I don't think I could use it now. But yeah, but I don't know. For me, I was like, this comes back to my like guilt over like, it's important to find the best system to me, and I want everything to be the ultimate and the best system, which is not really like a super healthy way of thinking about it. And for me, I got this and it worked great. And I was like, okay, I guess you don't have to get any other fountain pens. Like, so yeah, anyway, I really like it. The grip works really well for me. It mostly works great. I love to use like small felt pens, but for me, because of my RA, I have to put grips on these because they're so thin. And this one, I usually don't have to do a grip. I can't write forever. I can't write like a full regular letter size or like A4 size sheet of paper, but I can write like a full B6 sheet in this before my hand gives out. I don't have a lot of grip ability because of my RA, so which is hilarious that I love paper planners so much, but it's so much better than it used to be, and so for me, it's one of the advantages. But yeah, that's the only thing. I would be open to getting another fountain pen because I do really like this, but I'd have to be convinced about why I need a second one. I think the only thing is that, like, I have one cartridge in here, and I don't want to, like, swap cartridges out, and I would maybe like to have a second color. I don't even know what kind of nib I have. I just, like, bought this on a whim. I don't know what size. Is there an easy way to tell what size nib you have? Of the fountain pen experts here. It's very beautiful. It's like, take a note is Taiwan planner. Okay, so is that maybe Taiwanese planner? It did say something about Taiwanese holidays on it. Well, I'm happy that I thought of a cat thing before you've seen anybody else do it. Can I add my little ghost cat into this? We gotta have one little ghost cat. Keep it seasonal. Just sort of hanging out in there. It's not a very subtle ghost cat, is it? I'm really excited about the Budgetober cat, though. It's so cute. I'm excited to make stickers for the Budgetober cat, but maybe I'll make some sort of Budgetober themed vellum. So if you want to get free cute cat stickers for your planner, you should join Budgetober. You don't have to budget for everything. You just have to pick something that you're excited about budgeting, and we won't shame you if you go over budget or under budget, whatever it is. Some people budgeted time last year. They didn't want to budget money because like tracking money was not the place they were at in their life, but they wanted to do a time budget, and you know, it's whatever you want to do for the community. I'm really pleased with this cover now. I can't wait till my new Hobonichi Techo comes. This is just not this Midori planner starts in November, and when it came, I was like, maybe I should give this away. As I hit 600 subscribers 14 years and 9 months into being on YouTube, I hit 600 subscribers. So you should congratulate me. Thank you. Thank you. And maybe I should do some sort of giveaway or something like that for that. If I end up deciding I've gone full Hobonichi Techo, I probably don't need this Mosseri planner. And I could maybe do a giveaway instead of doing a... Usually when I do giveaways, I just give away Oh My Dollar stuff like books on personal finance. So thank you, Denise. I think that's it. What time is it? We've been streaming for 90 minutes. I don't know. This has been a long stream. We've done Flu for the Week. We talked about Budgetober. We looked at quite a lot of planners. We talked about the pros and the cons of the Jinbun Techo. I mostly got excited about how I'm going to use the Hobonichi Techo. I will do a setup video for the Hobonichi Techo. Almost definitely. It probably won't be a stream. It'll probably be like a proper setup video. But we went through the work of setting up the overhead view. So I feel like I've got to use it. Maybe I'm a real planner YouTuber now. And I will do a setup video when I get my 2021 Hobonichi Techo to come. It won't have a cover yet because I can't get it to fit into the cover. I tried to get it to fit into this cover, but it won't quite fit into this cover. It's just a little too big for it, unfortunately. This is a... What was this used for? This was used for a Laconic Gantt chart planner, which I loved. I used for planning projects, and I just thought it was such a unique planner. So Denise says, I will 100% watch your Plan With Me content. The thing I'm a little worried about with Plan With Me content, like, I don't think I can do it live. One thing I'm worried about with Plan With Me content is, one, I don't have a particularly pretty planner style, and two, I often have things going on that I might have to refer to in code words if I put them on. Like, I often have things that I can't talk about publicly going on, although I don't have a ton of those right now. But I might be able to do it as edited videos. Maybe I'll just do a live Plan With Me. I'm very excited to do next week's plan because I have a new one. You can see the things I didn't get to this week. I did list some clothing, but I didn't list all my clothing. I am highly inspired by Jonas. Oh, what is her full name? She hasn't made videos in years, but she has one of the best functional Hobonichi planner channels. So Denise says, oh, right. That's how all my work planning is. I mean, my stuff is like... It's probably fine. I think most of it, like, I usually just use acronyms and stuff. So, and I don't have a ton going on work life right now. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining me. How about you all, before we leave, tell me what you are most excited and most looking forward to this week. I am most excited about trying out my weekly view in my new Hobonichi Techo and the start of my German class. So I'm taking a year-long adult German class with the hope that maybe I can have a return to some of my German speaking skills. So yeah, I am excited about that. Camille says, I'm not really necessarily interested in pretty planning, but practical planning sounds great. Do it. All right. I would do some Plan With Me content. I have like a really intense fall coming up, and I feel the need to put everything down in the planner. So I'm really excited that I have another Hobonichi Techo Avec coming for this year, because I like desperately want to start this 2021 one already. And I'm so excited that I'm going to have a new one coming. So I'm very pleased with that cat cover. I want to know if they planned on that being a thing that people did with it. Yeah, so I'm excited about my new planner. I mean, I'm also excited about Budgetober coming up, but I have a lot of work to do for it, so I guess maybe a little less excited about it. All right. Anybody excited about anything this week? Oh my gosh, the cat just made the tiniest sigh snore in the box over there. We don't have cat cam today because we have the iPad and the overhead view and the front camera, and it just wasn't possible to also do the cat cam today. She's very cute and very tired. I could bring her over in a box. We could try to have an overhead view of the cat. I think this is a great idea. Bear with me. Hello, Dora. Important cat content. Denise is excited it's gonna rain all day tomorrow, but even more excited it'll be sunny the rest of the week, huh? It's been pouring rain intermittently with sun here, and I'm actually just very excited that it's now fall. I gotta break out the cape, the long sleeve cape dress that I haven't been able to wear all summer. It feels like it's like studying season and that everybody can calm down about socializing, which is really great. I personally feel like I had a lot of outdoor socialization this summer, and it was very nice to see everyone, but I am ready to be a hermit again, believe it or not. She doesn't like how bright the lights are for the cat cam. Is this thrilling Dora cam? All right, y'all. Well, have a lovely week. Enjoy your rain and your sun and whatever else in between you have. And pet a cat if you have one available. Drink some water, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye.